husband stood in front of television cameras, begging for his missing wife and daughters to come home. His voice trembled, his eyes searched the camera, and to millions of viewers, he looked like a devastated husband living through every family's worst nightmare. But within days, investigators would uncover a horrifying truth. The man pleading for his family's safe return wasn't searching for them at all. He already knew exactly where they were. This is the chilling true story of Chris Watts. From the outside, the Watts family appeared to have everything. Chris Watts lived with his wife, Shanann, and their two young daughters, Bella and Celeste, in Frederick, Colorado. Their social media pages painted the picture of a happy family. Birthday parties, family vacations, smiling photos, videos filled with laughter. To friends and neighbors, they seemed like an ordinary American family building a future together. But behind closed doors, cracks had begun to form. Financial problems had placed enormous stress on the family. Arguments became more frequent, and while Shanann believed they were working through their issues, Chris was hiding a secret. He was having an affair. A secret relationship that would eventually become central to one of the most shocking crimes in modern American history. In the early morning hours of August 13, 2018, Shanann returned home from a business trip. A neighbor's security camera captured her entering the house shortly before 2 a.m. It would be the last confirmed sighting of her alive. Later that day, concern began spreading. Shanann missed appointments. She wasn't answering calls or texts. This was completely unlike her. One of her close friends became worried and contacted authorities. When police arrived, something immediately felt wrong. Shanann's purse was still inside. Her medication was still in the house. Her car sat untouched in the garage, yet Shanann and her daughters were gone. The situation quickly transformed from a welfare check into a missing persons investigation, and Chris Watts appeared devastated. As media attention exploded, Chris appeared on local television. Standing outside his home, he made an emotional appeal. He begged for his family to come home. He claimed he had no idea where they were. He said he just wanted them back. But while many viewers sympathized with him, others felt something was off. Body language experts questioned his behavior. Online communities began analyzing every word, every gesture, every facial expression. Still, suspicion alone wasn't evidence. Investigators needed facts, and they were about to get them. One of Chris's neighbors invited detectives to review security footage. As the video played, investigators closely watched Chris's reaction. The footage showed activity around his truck early that morning. While nothing on the video directly proved a crime had occurred, detectives noticed Chris behaving strangely. He appeared nervous, restless, uncomfortable. The pressure was building. Then investigators uncovered another crucial piece of information: Chris's affair. Suddenly, detectives had a possible motive. His marriage was deteriorating. He was involved with someone else, and his family had vanished. The focus of the investigation began shifting dramatically. Detectives interviewed Chris repeatedly. At first, he maintained his innocence. He insisted he didn't know what happened, but investigators continued gathering evidence: phone records, witness statements, digital activity. Each discovery tightened the net around him. Then Chris agreed to take a polygraph examination. The results were devastating. Investigators informed him that they believed he was being deceptive. The walls were closing in, and for the first time, his story began to change. After hours of questioning, Chris finally admitted that he had not been telling the truth. What followed shocked investigators, and later the entire world. Authorities ultimately determined that Chris Watts had killed his pregnant wife, Shanann, and their two daughters. The man who had stood before cameras asking for help had been responsible all along. The husband, the father, the grieving man on television. He wasn't searching for his family. He was hiding what had happened to them. The realization horrified the public. Millions had watched his interviews. Many had believed him. Now they understood they had been watching a performance. Investigators located the victims at a remote oil site connected to Chris's workplace. The discovery brought the search to a tragic end. The nation watched in disbelief as more details emerged. Friends struggled to understand how someone they knew could commit such an unimaginable act. The case generated worldwide attention. News outlets covered every development. Podcasts examined every detail. And people everywhere asked the same question: why? How could a seemingly ordinary man commit such a devastating crime? Chris Watts eventually pleaded guilty and was sentenced to multiple life terms without the possibility of parole. The legal case ended, but the questions never truly disappeared. The Watts case remains one of the most discussed true crime stories in modern history because it shattered assumptions. It reminded people that appearances can be deceiving, that the image presented to the world isn't always reality, and that sometimes the person standing in front of the cameras, asking for help, is the very person investigators should be looking at. Years later, the story of Chris Watts continues to fascinate and horrify audiences around the world. Not because it was complicated, but because it was terrifyingly simple. The monster wasn't hiding in the shadows. He was standing in plain sight. If you enjoy true crime stories that uncover shocking secrets and unbelievable twists, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next case.